I'm Len Iaquinta. I co-host the monthly Civic Affairs program on the third Saturday of each month on WGTD-FM, public radio in southeastern Wisconsin. Welcome to you all. I just want to congratulate all of our candidates tonight, all three parts of the forum. They have bravely decided to run for office. I applaud that. I never like to see races that are unopposed, so I thank you for your participation in our democracy. You are the folks that make it all work. At this election forum, contested races for the City Common Council will be first, followed by county board candidates. The Kenosha School Board segment, conducted by my colleague Bob Haggerty, will follow. Some candidates will not be present for a variety of reasons, so please do not assume that that's because of a lack of interest. The forum rules for the city and county governing boards are simple. Candidates may make opening statements of up to 1 minute. They will be called in alphabetical order. I will question the candidates and they may respond for up to 2 minutes. If they go off topic, I will interrupt and restate the question. They will alternate in responding first, and if I make a mistake, just tell me. Our timer tonight is Christine Haggerty. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. My questions are my own and have not been shared with anyone in advance. This public forum will be available as soon as possible on the Kenosha Community Media and WGTD digital sites, and we thank Kenosha Community Media for their splendid help in recording this and being with us tonight. Without their help, this would not be the kind of forum that we would like it to be. The candidates in the audience are asked to be respectful of each other, the moderator, me, and the listening and viewing public. Candidates are cautioned not to make ad hominem name-calling remarks or to interrupt each other or me. Candidates may hand a signal to me if they wish to make a very brief reply to a statement by their opponent. The audience is asked to remain silent and to refrain from applause or comment. So, let's begin with the Kenosha Common Council candidates. Our first candidate is District 3. And we will begin with Jan Mikulski, and we'll start a timer here and say, go. Wait, we got to reset this, sorry. Why did it reset itself while I was asleep? I don't know, it's terrible. Cancel. There we go.
Thank you. My name is Jan Mikulski. I'm running for re-election. I've been doing this job for quite a few years now, and by that, you might assume, and you'd be right to assume, that I know how to get things done. I know what levers to pull, what buttons to push, who to talk to, how to get things achieved. And I honestly believe if I can't get it done, I don't think anybody else is going to get it done either. Now, people will make promises. A lot of people make promises when they run for office. I make but two, and I've always kept these promises. Number one, if somebody wants to call me or email me, I will always get back to them in a timely manner, right away. And number two, if they want to see me, I always make myself available to them in a timely manner. As far as, the regular politics, this is a nonpartisan election, and so consequently, I've not been pursuing anything. People ask me what party I belong to, and I always tell them, that was it.
That was a minute.
Okay.
Sorry. All right. I like harps. Makes me think I'm going to heaven. Josh Maglasane, your opening statement, sir. And I'll start the clock. Go.
All right. Good evening. My name is Josh Maglasane. Thank you guys again for having me be here today. I am a proud Kenoshan transplant. I bought my first home right off of 60th because I fell in love with the charm and history of our great city here. I'm just kind of your average Josh looking to help support my neighbors. And a big part of that was before running for candidacy, I asked a lot of my neighbors what they wanted to see improved or better yet celebrated within the district and within our community at large. And a few things that have come up repeatedly include improved infrastructure, having engaged leaders, as well as making sure that our community is safe. For me, I believe in listening first, actively engaging as a leader within our community. And from that, I believe that we together can make decisions that reflect real lived experiences. And so I thank you again, and I hope that through my efforts and working with you, that I can earn your vote on April 7th.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're going to feel you're in heaven by the time this is over. All right, first question, and we'll go for the first question to Jan Michalski. As housing becomes increasingly expensive, what would you encourage the city to do to lower rents and reduce property costs for residents?
Number one, the city has got many projects that are in the works right now. They are WIDA financed that basically subsidize rents in these apartment dwellings that go up. But we are also in the middle of the homes program expansion. Uline contributed several $1 million. The federal government has contributed millions of dollars to get single-family housing built in areas that are more marginal. These are city-owned empty lots, so nothing is there, and we're hoping to have owner-occupied housing there that will stabilize the neighborhood, maybe inspire people around them to improve their housing stock, and basically, statistically, we know that this reduces crime, this reduces a lot of the problems, this reduces blight. So this is, as far as that goes, is an important thing. Now, I've been on the City Planning Commission for quite a few years, and a lot of projects come forward, and, most of them are very well thought out, but sometimes they're not. And so consequently, if you have to say no on a vote to somebody who wants to build an apartment complex in this building or that building, it is just not a very good, choice at that time. But first of all, we do need more housing. We have a lot of people who really do not have adequate, opportunity to move into town. People who want to go and work in Kenosha, they need a place to live. They need a place to stay. And this is an important thing. We're making strides. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're making strides in that direction. And there is going to be more coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Maglasang, your response to the same
Can you
question.
repeat the question for me one more time?
Sure. As housing becomes increasingly expensive, what would you encourage the city to do to lower rents and reduce property costs for the residents?
So one of the very first things that the city can and has begun to invest in, of course, is more housing opportunities, and not just within the condo or apartment markets, but also within single-family homes. So I applaud the city for already looking at and committing to those kinds of initiatives. One of the problems, though, is a lot of the development costs for these kinds of projects will raise the standard of living for many parts of our community without supplement to them, or for what supplement is available. We need leadership that is willing to communicate to current homeowners, especially those who are multi-generational homeowners, to make sure that they're aware of what is available to them to keep their properties well invested in and have the proper upkeep, as well as work with the city to make sure that they're not falling behind and are in alignment with some of these other initiatives. So there is a lot of opportunity that the city is already working towards, and I definitely support that, but I think that there is more when it comes to our representatives and leaderships to working with individuals to make sure that they have the best opportunities that they have available to them to work within their means, upkeep their properties, and work within a growing industry where we know prices are going to inflate.
Thank you. By the way, each of these segments is going to run approximately 10 minutes. I'm roughly keeping track of that, but so we won't be going on forever for each race. Josh Maglasang, you're going to get the first crack at the next question. How would you grade the mayor on their performance? What's best? What's worst?
One of the best things that I love about our current mayoralship is the availability, right? Having the opportunity to actually meet with him, to speak with him, to work with them on other collaborative ideas that help support our city. For me personally, I've actually come to his office to discuss concerns around safety within the creative economy. And he's been very open to working with me and with organizations that I volunteer with, such as WAMI and Make Music Day, to make sure that we have a community that can come together in a nice, safe environment. I also applaud the communication, right? Seeing things go outside into more of the social media sphere, working with other media platforms to make sure that we are as informed as we can be. And that's leadership that I believe that all representatives throughout our city need to harvest and to grapple onto as a part of our representation for the community.
Thank you. Your response to the question.
Thank you. As far as our current mayor, I give him an A rating. His biggest asset is his energy. He is all over the place, doing his darndest. He's also takes an opportunity to be open to ideas that have not been approached before. So he's very willing to think outside the box. These are very, very positive things on his part. So I think he's a good mayor. He's got a difficult shoes to fill because John Antaramian had been mayor for so many years and a lot of people love him. But at the same time, Dave has been working really, really hard to be innovative, to be listening to people, to be accepting new ideas, and to push forth on a couple of new ideas. Like we're coming up with the St. Patrick's Day Parade, second year. This was something he embraced right off the bat. He's not Irish, but he embraced it right away. And these are wonderful things. These are wonderful aspects. And personally, the fact that he endorses my candidacy and the previous mayor endorses my candidacy, I would also think that is a very good thing. Now, as far as negatives, you know, I'm not gonna go there. I really don't think that there's anything really very glaring that I have a problem with that he's done. He's done very good work as a mayor, and I look forward to him being mayor the next 2 years before he has to run again. And in his next election, I suspect he's going to run again, and I suspect I will be voting for him because I think he's doing a very, very good job.
Thank you. And next question. Are we ready? And we'll begin this time with you. Right? What would you encourage the city to do to address homelessness in our community?
That's a very difficult question, and that is a big thing. I worked as an INS volunteer for many years before Shalom was established. There are a lot of people who are not easily put into the category where they can be helped by the shelters. The city and the county have both partnered up and done a lot of work as far as helping them with inns, no longer inns, but as far as helping them with the Shalom, the KHDS has been found people some temporary housing for people. It is a difficult situation. The problem is also amount of space availability and the amount of money available. I have volunteered this past winter at the Emmanuel Methodist Church, and we took in overnight a number of people, basically the overflow that Shalom could not handle. They reluctantly had to turn people away. Well, Emmanuel Methodist Church, God love them, took a lot of them in, and you know, basically I was sitting there overnight, a number of nights, to watch people not freeze that otherwise might have frozen. So this is a very, very difficult thing. What we need to do is we need to find solutions, and we need to help people with mental health issues that keep them from being able to access housing, a lot of other things. You need to help people get off of substance abuse that keeps them from getting stable housing. There are a number of things that we can do. It's a difficult problem, and it's not just one thing. There are a lot of different categories of people who are unhoused.
Thank you. To wind up on District 3, Josh Magnuson, your response.
I agree. There's a lot that the city can do, and especially in collaboration with our other municipal groups, including the county and the state, to help support our unhoused population. One of the biggest things, though, that I think we neglect currently as a city is really understanding the root causes of what is causing our unhoused crisis within the city. As Jan had just mentioned, there are areas of mental health crises, there's substance abuse, there are things with regards to individuals who are coming from incarceration who may not be eligible for certain jobs or other placements because we do not currently have the supports for those individuals. We do not have enough mental health or other abuse clinics to help support individuals to keep them off the streets and keep them away from what is unfortunately causing their unhoused status. That is where I believe the city should be focusing only on having beds in places for people to sleep overnight, although highly important, especially during the winter months where we do not want to see our neighbors freeze. It is important, but it does not get to the root of why they are in that situation to begin with. And that is where I think the city should really be turning its attention.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to play musical chairs on your side of the table, and we're going to move to District 4. And we're going to open with opening statement of 1 minute by Rex Davenport.
Hi, I'm Rex Davenport. I'm a 35-year resident of the district with my wife, Liz Snyder. We've seen a lot of good things happen in our area, and we want them to continue. We don't want to be left behind, though, when it comes to city services and development. That's one of my aims on the city council. Not just city services, though, but human services and quality of life concerns are important to me. As a journalist, I have covered hundreds, maybe thousands of municipal meetings, and I don't claim that as any qualification for office, but I do think it's helped me get up to speed quickly. I knew a lot of people in the city before I sat down in the seat for the first time, which is helpful. And I appreciate their help and help from city staff, too. It's been great. But right now, let's stop hearing from me and start answering questions. So.
All right. Thank you very much. And now we're going to turn to your opponent, Craig Satter. Please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Craig Sater. I have my master's from UW Parkside in leadership and public service. I've been working for almost a decade with the elderly and disabled population, listening to concerns, helping others. Someone in an aldermanic position told me that this job is about serving others, and that is why I'm going into it, is to serve others. I want to be a good public servant. I have the energy and the passion to grow with the community, to keep going. And I believe, too, I'm a very big proponent for neighborhood beautification. I believe that neighborhood beautification creates safety in our neighborhoods for other people and for businesses. And I believe keeping our businesses safe and other people safe is important. I want to be an alderperson for every person. I believe that all people need help. And my background also in neighborhood engagement, beautification, and community building make me a great candidate for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll do the first question. Make the harp go away. Let's start with Rex Davenport. Rex, what is the most important issue facing your district that you hope to represent, and how would you solve it? There you go. You're green now. We'll reset the timer.
We like to see his teamwork.
There's green. How about that? Would you repeat the question, Lynn? I was
Sure.
distracted.
You hope to represent District 4. What is the most important issue facing your district, and how would you solve that problem?
I think asking one alderperson to solve any issue is never going to work. I think that we work together through collaboration and information sharing and listening to our constituents. I don't think, I'm not sure I could sit here and put one item at the top of the list. I think affordability of housing is important, as you've heard from other people. I think food security is equally important. I think public safety would also, if those are 1 and 1A, public safety would be 1B. And my way of solving any of those is to listen aggressively, address questions and concerns immediately, and seek solutions through the tools available to us on the city council. Not every solution is a city council possibility. You have to reach and be able to collaborate with others, including those in the county and the state, and perhaps even the feds, as much as we don't like dealing with them. I mean, I can't put one at the top of the list.
Thank you. And your response, please, Craig Sater.
There we go. I really want to echo Rex that I think that a good alderperson isn't going, one thing I've been telling people is I can come up here and tell you what I think, but it doesn't matter what I think. It matters that I listen and that I bring those concerns to the other alder people, to the mayor, and to the rest of the local government. One thing that I've heard as I go door to door is some people are concerned with the streets. And as Rex was saying, there's only so much, an alderperson can do. But one thing I'm promising is that I will listen and report back and do what I can. I think that my background, again, working with the aging and disabled population, allows me to listen and to try to figure out solutions. And a lot of times, the answer is, I don't know, let me check on that. And I'm not afraid to say that. I also do think that food security is a major issue in our whole community and in District 4. Luckily, we don't have a food desert, so to speak, in terms of grocery stores. We have some wonderful grocery stores, but I think Kenosha as a whole could improve on how we help our houseless population, how we help. But I think the takeaway is how do I help other people? How do I listen and address those issues that others bring to me?
Thank you. Maybe we'll have to do some mic sharing until we get a new battery. My kingdom for a battery. All right. We're going to start the next question with you, Craig. Youth violence is a growing concern in our community and is disproportionately impacting Black and brown youth. What specific strategies would you support to address the root causes of youth violence?
I think this is going to be maybe controversial, but I'm going to say it because this is what I believe. Systemic racism is an issue for our world, and that is at the root cause, right? There's an equity concern going on in our community. I really like that question a lot because, again, when I say I want to be an alderperson for every person, I want to help everybody, right? We were talking a little bit, Josh was talking about mental health help, addiction help. I've had in my time trials and errors where I've been a youth that maybe not violent, but I was a lost youth, right? And I had a lot of people that helped me and helped me grow. And I think we as a local community need to help other people. There's people that I know in here that are helping people with addiction. They're in this room alone, and addiction is a cause of that. It is a really scary thing what's happening, the guns that are coming into our schools. My wife is a teacher for Racine Unified, and it scares me every day when she comes home. She was bit the other day by a student, and what do we do to address that? But again, as was mentioned before, what's the root cause? We have to look at the root causes. Slapping a Band-Aid on it is not going to look at that. We have to dig deep. So, yeah. I'm glad my mic is working this time, though, because that's a very important question. Thank you.
Craig is a smart person. I think he said a lot of things that make a lot of sense. I think some of us wish that we lived in that 1950s black and white TV world where there was no crime, there was no youth violence, there were no guns, but we don't live there. I think education is important, but expecting the schools to solve the problem isn't going to work either. I think communication among resources and sharing resources, both public and private, is critical. And that actually gets back to the homeless question. This is fun. In any case, I think that there needs to be a lot more collaboration between agencies. I don't think you're going to change the world with any single approach, but I also think dismissing a youth as a bunch of tattooed, pierced yahoos doesn't help either. I think we have to be honest and listen to the issues they have and try to solve them from the bottom up, not the top down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will address the next question to you, Rex Davenport. Grassroots involvement in crafting solutions is recognized as foundational for successful outcomes. How would you ensure that actions and solutions are developed in consultation with the communities most affected?
Isn't that the nature of government in general? I think if you're not collaborating and cooperating, then you're not doing your job on the city council. I do think, again, from sitting in a lot of public government meetings, there's a place for a lot more collaboration between government and NGOs and nonprofits. And I would actually like to see the city have an office to address that, or an officer to address that, someone who seeks out the nonprofits and the NGOs and looks for ways to collaborate that actually maximizes the finances available to both of them. And that can get back to a lot of topics, especially housing. I think there's a lot of room for more collaboration in building new houses. There's new technologies, there's all kinds of things we can do to maybe lower the cost of building new single-family dwellings and apartments. And I think just collaboration is the key. Thank you.
Thank you. Craig Sutter, your response, please, Craig.
Would you repeat the question, please?
Sure. Grassroots involvement in crafting solutions is recognized as foundational for successful outcomes. How would you ensure that actions and solutions are developed in consultation with the communities most affected?
So that's a wonderful question, and Rex gave a really wonderful response too. So I actually was able to get a certification from the United Nations in community building. And one thing that I learned, or one thing that I picked up is exactly what Rex was saying too, is that community involvement, that hearing from that input from people, but also really taking that into heart. I think one thing that occurs is that with local servants, public servants, leaders in our local government, is we may have ideas or they may have ideas and they're not truly hearing what the community says. And when I say the community, I mean everybody in the community. I'm talking about everybody in the community. I don't think that, how do I put it? It doesn't matter what your income level is. It doesn't matter your skin color, your racial identity, your gender identity. We need to help everybody and take that into key for everybody. And having that opinion, having a wide diversity panel to hear what everybody has to say. Grassroots is the foundation. Our country's built on grassroots. Our country's built on people helping other people. I believe that if we can come from an aspect of kindness, and that might be a little controversial, and that's a scary world we live in where kindness can be controversial. But I think that kindness is the key to all of this. That if we're kind to others and we listen to others, that person who's houseless on the street, they've had situations that I can't understand. So if I go up to them and I'm not treating them with respect, that's not the kind of person I want to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to change places here for District 6.
There's only one working mic, so.
Only one?
I think so, yeah.
We'll see what we can do. All right, our candidates for District 6 are Red Arnold and Brandy Rose Faree. Welcome. Please, your first opening statement will be from Red Arnold.
I'm not red It's 6 and 9.
I'm
He's not here.
sorry. What?
My opponent's not here and her opponent's not here.
Oh, I see, okay, I didn't realize that. All right, well, Brandy, your opponent, Red Arnold, is not here, so you will go ahead and make your opening statement.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank everybody for making this forum possible. I really appreciate that the community is going to be informed. So my name is Brandy Faree, and I'm running for re-election for 6th District Alderperson. I care deeply about this community, and I'm also involved. I am a Kenosha Welcome Center board member. I'm a board member of Friends of Hawthorne Hollow, and I'm also a volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. Some of my goals include caring for people and the environment, and also community safety. And I think the most important thing that people should take away from this today is that I'm rooting for Kenosha.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to give you your first question now, and that is, traditional youth programming, such as recreation centers, mentorship initiatives, structured after-school activities, they have been historically a vital resource for families and communities. What would you do to restore, enhance, and invest in these kinds of programs for our young people?
Thank you. I really appreciate this question. So I have actually supported some of these programs, specifically a children's library that has much youth programming, also middle school and teen programs, and also an entrepreneurship program for our young adults. And I'm really excited about these things that I've supported here in Kenosha because I'm seeing this growth within our community where students who are young can learn their reading skills and get this good foundation of learning how to read and then using their skills of reading in order to learn. And then from that, they can grow into some interests for their potential career someday, and then potentially have entrepreneurial business in the community that's then employing their friends and neighbors and growing our community's business community.
Thank you. As our neighborhoods are redeveloped, how would you ensure that long-term residents are not displaced through gentrification, or at least accommodated in affordable housing nearby?
Thank you. So I support the public-private investment in affordable homeownership in Kenosha. As I mentioned as well, I'm also a volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. I believe it's a really great program that we have here in Kenosha that supports individuals who are looking to be homeowners. Not only are they placed into homes where they're encouraged to be a part of the community and stay for the long term, they're actually putting sweat equity into their homes. And that's something that really invests them and roots them in their community. And overall, I would say that housing is the foundation of stable, financially healthy homes because oftentimes it's your largest expense. And so when that's stable, I think that builds stable families and stable communities.
Thank you. And we have time for a couple more questions. How would you grade the mayor on their performance? What's best, what's worst about it?
On a scale, I would grade the mayor an A. I have been really impressed with his energy and also optimism. He exhibits something that I think is really important for communities, especially within leadership like in a mayoral position. It's aligning people under shared goals. I think communities who can see a vision that is shared and they can work together for a common goal and get things accomplished are much healthier and stronger communities in comparison to somewhere that might have disagreements about where they're going. So I would say he's doing a great job. And also, I've been very impressed because somehow it seems like he is everywhere all at the same time.
Thank you. And one more question for Randy Rose Faree. What's the most important issue facing your district or issues, and how would you solve it or them?
So I don't think that it's my place to say what the largest issue is. I would say that it's important that people come to me with their largest concerns, and I like to be a resource in order to connect people. Sometimes the concerns I have aren't under the jurisdiction of the city, like, for example, it might fall underneath the school board. And so I'd like to always point them to the direction of where they may be able to find the information or the resource they're looking for. And I think that when we all work together as a community across all different levels of leadership, I think that's when we're the most successful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that will conclude our forum for District 6. As you're noticing, we're trying to spend about 10 minutes on each race, and if there's not two people here, we will just truncate it a little bit so that we are as fair as possible to everybody, which isn't always easy. So we're going to move on now to, where are we? District 9, and the candidate we have here is Keith Rosenberg.
Good evening.
Keith, let me reset the timer here to 1 minute and 2 seconds to give you a time to breathe, and go.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Keith Rosenberg. I'm running for re-election in District 9. I've been serving as the alderman of District 9 since 2012, and I'm very proud of the job I've done down there. Basically, my district is the south side, everything east and west of Tripper High School. One of my biggest concerns when I first got elected was our med unit at Station 2 was not full-time. It was only part-time. I worked real hard with Mayor Bosman under my first term to get the manning levels up to speed for our fire department and get my ambulance fully manned. Because of my district, I have 2 senior apartments, 2 nursing homes, and a lot of my seniors still in their homes. And waiting for an ambulance for a heart attack from Station 3 at the time before we rebuilt Station 1 was unsatisfactory to me, so we needed the ambulance. I've also fixed over 10 roads in the district in 14 years. That was the #1 concern I heard was fix the roads for my constituents in my district. And so I'm just hoping to continue doing the job and fixing the roads and park improvements and continue serving the great city of Kenosha, which I was born and raised in.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to give you my first question. What would you do to encourage the city to address the issues of homelessness in our community?
You're hard to hear. I got a little hearing problem.
I'll repeat it. What would you encourage the city to do to address homelessness in our community?
Well, we've tried to address this on so many levels with, again, previous years we had the INS program and now the Shalom Center. And unfortunately, the money's not there. We have a very tight budget, you know, and we're limited what we can do. We can apply for federal grants to help us with that, but we need more affordable housing to help these people get off the streets. There are programs through the county to help them, you know, get reestablished and get them into apartments. I know there's several in my district of Section 8 apartments to help, you know, in Briarcliff, I believe it is, to help them transition and get back on their feet. But unfortunately, there are a handful of the homeless people out there, and it's just reality, that don't want to help. They just like being homeless. They live that way. And I've talked to some of them, and it's unfortunate, and then I try to help them as best I can. But, you know, I try to help the people I can, and those that don't want the help, you know, just give them a helping hand, give them a couple bucks for, you know, a sandwich or something like that. That's all you can do.
Thank you. Next question. Youth violence is a growing concern in our community and is disproportionately impacting black and brown youth. What specific strategies would you support to address the root causes of youth violence?
The root causes of what?
Youth violence.
Youth violence?
Right.
Okay, I got a bad hearing. We have worked with Officer Friendly is in our police department, especially after the riots we had, or after the Jacob Blake shooting. And I never in a million years thought that would ever happen in my lifetime, being born and raised in Kenosha. That was probably the worst time in Kenosha that I've ever seen in my life. Since then, we've worked with the community, you know, to churches, our police department, our sheriff's department, and try to mend fences. And I think we've done a really good job over the last several years on that aspect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And my final question, probably, maybe one more, for you, Keith Rosenberg, is grassroots involvement in crafting solutions is recognized as foundational for successful outcomes. How would you ensure that actions and solutions are developed in consultation with the communities most affected?
I'm trying to, you know, just didn't catch the very last end of it.
Yeah. Grassroots involvement in crafting solutions is recognized as foundational for successful outcomes. How would you ensure that the actions and solutions get developed in consultation with the communities most affected?
Again, that's just, you know, working with the programs we have right now with the county, city, to try to, get affordable housing for those people who need it. Especially have humanity, that's a big thing. One of my wife's coworkers just recently qualified for a house that's being built. And that's, if you qualify for that, you can be a homeowner. And that's my goal, is to get everybody in home ownership, because I've been a homeowner since 1997. So, thank you.
We have time for another question. How about grading the mayor on their performance? What's the best about the mayor's performance, and what's the worst?
Oh, I don't know if there's a worst, because he's done a darn good job since becoming mayor. I've known Mayor Brogdala since I've been on council, when he was alderman of the 17th. His leadership is what I respect the most right now, because he was our council president during the riots, and he was there communicating with all of us and through COVID, and he was there for us. So that's why I think he's an outstanding mayor. I've served under 3 mayors, with Mayor Bosman, Mayor Anserinian, and now Mayor Brogdala, and he's done an A+ job. I see no faults yet, to this point.
Well, thank you. I'll give you one more lightning round question. What's the most important that you think is facing your district, and how would you address it?
Right now is the number one thing I hear from my neighbors in my district is traffic control. And fortunately, we hired 10 new officers a couple years ago to start, doing that, and that's throughout the city. Traffic, running stop signs, running, red lights, speeding, and everybody at council has heard from their neighbors. People are driving, they're in a hurry to go nowhere. And that reckless driving, that's the biggest concern right now in the 9th District and throughout the city.
Thank you. Keith Rosenberg, contender for District 9. And now we're going to move down the list a little bit. We're all the way to District 12 is next, looks like, right?
15.
Going all the way down to 15? All right. District 15, we have Jesse Downing and Julia Mettello. All set. All right. District 15, opening statement by Jesse Downing, please.
Thank you. My name is Jesse Downing. I'm currently running for alderman in the 15th district, even though I was alderman of the 16th for 16 years. After my wife passed away, I moved to the 15th district, and I met a lot of people, a lot of interesting people there, and when they heard that Jack Rose was not going to run again, my phone was ringing. Say, hey, Jesse, can you run again? We've seen what you did in the 16th district. We want you to do it in the 15th. So that's why I'm running again. Hopefully I'll get the support.
Great. Thank you very much. And now let me reset the clock and ask for your contender, Julia Mettello, to give me her opening statement. Julia.
Thank you. My name is Julia Metello. I am running for District 15 Alderperson. I am fourth generation here in Kenosha, born and raised, looking to get back to the community that gave me so much. I have been incredibly honored throughout this entire race. I have gotten so much support from the community. So far I've gotten the support from the UAW, AFL-CIO, the local 414, as well as endorsements from State Representative Tim McGuire, as well as State Representative Ben DeSchmidt. So I'm really feeling the love from my area and my community here. Like I said, fourth generation, my family has been in Kenosha for decades, and I want to help build that strong community that everybody knows and loves, where you know your neighbors, you feel supported, and you have a city that loves and values you as well. I'm really focusing on affordability, accessibility, and inclusivity here in my campaign. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we'll start with our first question. I'll ask Mr. Jesse Downing to begin. Let's talk about housing. As housing becomes increasingly expensive, what would you encourage the city to do that could lower rents and could reduce property costs for our residents?
Well, I definitely think we need more housing, whether it's high-end, low-end. There's all kinds of property to the west that we can build on. We just got to find the developers to do it. And then look at state and federal governments for grants from them. The grants are out there. We've used them before in my previous council time. That's how we got a lot of these houses developed. Even downtown, some of the housing that's downtown was all done with grants. So we just have to continue to look forward to that.
Thank you. Julia Metallo, your response, please.
Yeah, so this, in the past year, actually, I've had the opportunity to become a first-time home buyer. It was both an amazing experience and a terrifying one. I had an amazing opportunity. I bought my house in District 15. I love it there. Never want to leave this area. It is my perfect dream house. But one thing that I realized during this entire process is the housing market, trying to figure out what loans you can apply for, what your availability is, what you can afford actually, can be a really confusing way and just a hard system to follow. So I really want to work with the city and our local community to help find ways to make that process a little smoother, providing classes so people understand what the actual process is. What do you need to get a mortgage? What are the requirements? If you don't have somebody who's able to guide you through that, it can be a really difficult process. Also, I want to focus on how we can find ways to make rent more affordable. We have some amazing opportunities that are being built currently downtown and throughout our city, and I want to make sure that everyone has the ability to be able to afford them and have access to them. I also think that a lot of that comes with having the understanding of what it means to be a renter, what are your rights, what's your rights as a tenant, and what is landlords required to do. So making sure that the houses that are rented are maintained well by landlords, making sure that people are following our ordinances correctly. I also want to make sure that our out-of-state landlords are being held accountable. A lot of our properties, especially in our minority districts, often fall to the wayside because they are owned by people who do not live in our city. So I just want to make sure that everyone is held to the accountability and responsibility that your average homeowner is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we're going to switch starting now. Julia Metallo will start first. Traditional youth programming, such as recreation centers, mentorship, structured after-school activities, has historically been a very vital resource for families and communities. We used to have recreation centers in every public park, just of any size, during the summer when I was a kid and long after. What would you do to restore, enhance, and invest in these kinds of programs for our young people?
Yeah, I think it's really important that we have the resources for our younger community. I know that with working parents, it's really hard to sometimes find places for your kids to go after school. So having those resources where they can go to a Boys and Girls Club, a YMCA, someplace where they can go, be watched, have the resources to grow, to learn more, continue their education outside of necessarily a classroom, build those relationships with their peers and community is really important. Finding ways through our park district to offer more programs and resources I think is really important. We can offer sports, we can offer mentorship through the unions as well that will provide a lot of structure and stability for people who might not have that in their day-to-day lives. I think that something that gets really forgotten about is not everybody has a home that they can go to with parents who are there to help with homework, to provide those necessary resources. So finding ways for our city to fill those gaps is incredibly important to me. I want to make sure that everyone feels supported, loved, and that they have a place and a voice within our city.
Thank you. Jesse Downing, your response, sir.
That's a good question, Len. When I grew up too, we always had someplace to go. Now, we have the YMCA, we have the Boys and Girls Club. But the problem I see there is, we have the YMCA on the west end of town. How are the kids from the south side, the north side, gonna get there? That's something that we have to look at as a city too, is to provide transportation so the kids can get there. You just can't have it build one on the east side, one on the west side, and you still got the north and south side too. So we have to look at programs, how to get them funded, so that our youth will have things to do after school. There'll be more responsibility after that.
Thank you. And you'll be taking the first crack at this question. Jesse Downing, youth violence is a growing concern in our community, and it's disproportionately impacting black and brown youth. So what specific strategies would you support to address root causes of youth violence?
We need to work with all organizations, with the police department, and the parents of all these kids. The problems with these kids starts at home. We're seeing absentee fathers, absentee mothers, all these single family or single parent families. That's what's causing a lot of this. These kids need discipline. And with the kids not being disciplined, nothing happened to the parents. When the kids do step out of line, we're not holding the parents responsible either. It gets frustrating at times because I see this on a daily basis. I go between Kenosha and Racine, and they get the same problem up there as we have here. We have to start working together as a city, not just individuals, and figure out the root cause of this and how to correct it. That's the only way we're going to have a better community.
Thank you. Julia Metallo, your response to the question on youth violence.
Yeah, so I think that this is a really complex issue, and there's many different factors and layers that go along with this. I think that a lot of it has to do with where people are currently living, their housing situations, and who's at home with them. I think something that I would love to see the city do, and something that I hope I can implement, is working with our community leaders and our community groups to find ways to support individuals that way. I think it's really important. Our small-knit communities have leaders within them. How do we use those leaders to support those communities as well? How can we partner with them here at the city level so that we are able to give them additional resources, additional options to provide to their community? It's important that you feel that support within a community, otherwise you have nothing else to do. You go and you look for trouble other places, so making sure that there's opportunities throughout.
Okay, we have a little time remaining, and my favorite lightning question right now is to judge and grade the mayor. So I want to hear your critiques of the mayor and maybe some praise, maybe some critiques. We'll start this time with you, Julia Metallo.
Yeah. So one thing that I will say that I really have enjoyed with Mayor Bagdala is the ability to see him everywhere. I think it has been said many times that he is here, there, and everywhere. You see the mayor around the city doing events, going to things, and it's amazing to see him so active. I also really enjoy the fact that we are focusing on the tourism aspect more in our city. We're providing new and fun ways to get involved. I'm so excited for the St. Patrick's Day parade. It was super fun last year downtown, dyeing the harbor. All of those opportunities were something new and innovative, and I think it's amazing to provide different things for people to do. I remember growing up in Kenosha and always thinking this was the smallest city I've ever been in. I have no idea what to do here, and when I was younger, yeah, I definitely thought that. And as I've gotten older and I've seen this new administration here in the city, I've seen all of these new opportunities that are available for everybody.
All right, that brings our section for this district, District 15, to a close. Thank you both very much.
Do you want me to answer that or no?
Oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. I was lulled by the harp.
Just a minute.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would also rate the mayor probably a B+, A-. I mean, he's done a lot for the city of Kenosha with making it a destination for tourists. He's stayed on track with the building of the downtown, but we still have the west end of town too. I mean, ever since I was the alderman of the 16th district, we needed a med unit on the west end. We had other candidates here talk about what if somebody had a heart attack? How long they're gonna wait? Well, the closest med unit is at the airport. We go all the way out to Strawberry Creek, all the way out to MB. For somebody that's had family members that needed an ambulance, 18 minutes is too long. So I haven't seen anything or heard anything about city council or the mayor working on that. So, I mean, that's something that has to be done. So that would be the one that kept him at a B plus, A minus. But other than that, he's done wonderful. He's everywhere, like they say. I mean, I see it on Facebook. Mayor Bogdala posted this, City of Kenosha this, and he's everywhere, which is what we need.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for catching my mistake. Jesse Downing, Julie Matano from District 15.
Thank you.